We are live. Hello, hello, everyone out there. Hi, hi, hi. Happy Saturday. Yes, you do see the two of us here, which means you know that we are here to play because that's what we do. But along with playing, we also definitely, our goal and purpose here is to provide you with some amazing insight. Also, perhaps help you clear some energy for all the energy that is going on. And we have this amazing full moon that is actually the fullest as of tomorrow. What's the exact time for the full moon tomorrow, Kitty?
It's in the afternoon. It is, I think, 29.
Oh,
Yes.
awesome. Yes, yes, yes. So what we're going to do here is Kitty is going to just introduce herself and then introduce a little bit of what we're going to talk about while I check to see that we are streaming where we need to be
What,
streaming.
Joanne, what did we call this?
We call this Eat the Cake. What
Eat
the
the
hell
cake.
does that mean, guys? Yes, we're giving you permission and and want to put it out there because we were just having a very intense conversation behind the scenes, something similar to this. Is this invitation to eat the cake is not just for tonight. This is an invitation to start giving yourself permission to fuel and feed your body. Because if your body is I don't like the word crave. We need to come up with a different word. I don't know what the word is, but I don't like the word crave. But if
If
you
your body's asking you.
there you go. There you go. If your body is asking to have a darn piece of cake, you can have the piece of cake, not just a little sliver, because I don't know about you guys, but if I tell myself I just want to have a little sliver of the cake, I sit there and laugh at myself saying, yeah, if I'm going to have a sliver, I'm going to go for a little bigger piece. And you might as well go with what you really want anyway, because at the end of it, you're going to end up going back and forth, and it doesn't do your body any good. It only creates resistance, and that doesn't work anyway. So, anyway, Kitty, go ahead while I check in.
I'm Kitty Foss, your storytelling astrologer of the Hero's Journey Astrology, learning about your own life and how to be a hero in it. And I'm one of the founders of Intuition of the Soul, which is a free private Facebook group where we have lots of people come on and do programs, and they're starting up soon. And also, it's a place where if you're wanting to explore your spirituality, there's a lot of different folks you can get in contact with, or you yourself are starting out trying to work with people. It's a great place to come and meet people who might be really, really ready to resonate with your energy, with what they're looking for. And we're going to give Jeanette Biro, the medium in Canada, our friend there, who did a wonderful spirit conversation. And that's where the title came from, Eat the Cake. Because one of the things we were just talking about, we're both, Joanne was on yesterday and did an amazing program. And if you haven't had a chance to join, there's something called, it's a virtual channeling summit, and it's free to join. And if you make a small donation, you can get all the past people as well. And it's been an amazing kind of common thread about eat the cake. You know, this isn't a time of restricting ourselves. This isn't a time of suffering and limitations. This is a time to expand. And as long as you are aligning with your higher self, the best version of you, and really working on it, that is the space you're being asked to hold. So eat the cake. It's not about making ourselves suffer. It's not about, it doesn't mean that there's some pain along this journey, but what you choose to magnify, and Joanne, we've been talking about that a long time, is what you magnifies. You know, if you say, oh, the world's a mess, that's what you see. Does that mean there is issues out there? Absolutely. Does that mean there are other people who are angry? Absolutely. But if it's you that's angry, then that, you know, as the work of Byron Katie would say, if you let go of some of that, like a belief that leads to a judgment, what suffering do you let go of? There's a question.
Yeah,
So,
good question. Yes.
and so eat the cake. You know, Joanne did a magical, absolutely stunning presentation about really letting your body lead the way. If your body is asking, now, Do I believe that at times I overindulge in sugar? But the more I've been aligning with meditation and things, the more I can go, going to eat a couple pieces of little candy, and then I move on. It's not that I'm sitting down anymore. It's not associated with a big emotion. It's not associated with all kinds of things. And I really am learning that if I'm listening to my body and I eat the cake, I'm all right.
Yes, and just as you said too, sometimes if we are indulging a little bit more than we think we should, because again, that's another thing we have to let go of as well, is what should we be doing? Because once again, we work on that concept, it's resistance. But you can always do like a check-in. What I mean by a check-in is literally ask yourself your reasons for why you're choosing to want that piece of cake. Now, when we think about cake, cake is sweet. And sometimes what we do, and metaphysically speaking, when we think of eating something that's sweet, it's like, where in our life are we sort of missing the sweetness, which is why we're looking for something sweet to replace what we're missing. And if you can evaluate it in that sense, then you could do an evaluation and then also give yourself permission to have the cake. So it's not so much about, or have whatever the sweet is. For tonight it's the cake. Yesterday was ice cream. So we're going to just roll down the street of all the different types of things we choose to want to have, whatever it may be. But the concept of it all is to, where we restrict ourselves with our food, we restrict ourselves in our life. Because
anytime we restrict ourselves, we're restricting. And one of the very interesting common messages that has been on this virtual summit is that in order to hold the space that we wish to hold in this world, our constraints about labeling, calling, all of those things, sectionalizing our life, very human. It's how we understand. It's patterns. And we make patterns to understand. And as we let go of some of those patterns, we see bigger patterns. We see as above, so below. We don't restrict how we step into the world. One of the other presenters, Sandra Pelly, that's one of her big concentrations. I loved what you had to say about learning with your body. And I think you should be changing the weight loss industry. Thank you. Having participated in it. And I've got a story to share with you about that. Hers was about stepping into a limitless life. And the way you step into it is letting go of your self-imposed limitations, whether it's food, whether it's exercise. I got to go work out. Well, if you really don't feel like working out, don't.
Yes, and rather than using the word "I gotta go work out," use the word "I want to work out," because there's a big difference from wanting to got to. Wanting, you have that desire, there's an enjoyment. And I know there's lots of people right now who might be watching this, whether you're watching with us live on the replay, and you're saying to yourself, well, who on earth wants to work out? Believe it or not, there's a large population of people out there, including myself, that truly enjoys the workout. Like, I enjoy the workout, that when I go to do my workout, I enjoy the workout. Now, for me, one of my reasons to why I work out, and this has been my reason to working out since I'm 12 years old, is to really decrease stress. Where if there's just too much going on in my mind, I get a little stressed over it. So by me being able to exercise, lifting weights, it gives me this ability to be in my own space, and allows me just to let go of whatever it is that might be overwhelming me at the time. And this way here, I have a different way of looking at things, because it allows me to connect with my mind, with my body, with my emotions, with my spirit, which is what I do anyway. It's like that whole mind, body, spirit, holistic process of it all, where I'm really connecting with the enjoyment. And yeah, there are times when I get into doing the workout, some of the exercises I have to do are challenging. And it's like, oh my God, whereas if you were watching me do a workout, you would probably be saying, she can't possibly enjoy this. but I do. And that's why for me, it's like, it's an everyday practice. And for anybody else who works out, it's not I have to. It's I want to. I
I
want
prefer,
to.
I like the word prefer. I prefer to do this, and you enjoy, and it's also a matter of finding what works for you. You know, I remember when running was a craze, and I tried it, hated it, hated it. Years later, I actually had a physical therapist say, "Your feet are on wrong. No wonder you hated it." And there was a physical reason, but I like to swim. I love to walk, and I like qigong. I do. I like ease in my movement. So that's where I prefer to spend my time rather than setting a limit of, but this is what I need to do for. And as soon as I get into the shoulds, thou shalt not should on thyself.
Yes.
I put a restriction, a limitation. I'm not open to other ways of working. I worked for a very famous company that has been in the business for many, many, many years. I do give them props that at least they tried to teach people to balance their life, but they did have them counting calories, points, all kinds of other things. And I won't say publicly who they are, but you can probably figure out if I give you the clue of alliteration. But anyway,
Yes.
but one of the things about working with the organization, I was a lecturer for them and I did some at work classes, was every time we had a meeting, like we'd have a general meeting and there would be a luncheon to talk about the business and where it was going and introducing rollouts of new. They did spend millions of dollars on research, but research is also, as you know, driven with kind of false information and assumptions.
Yes. Yes.
And I'm not very kind of dense understanding rather than a spiritual kind of understanding. And though yet, what motivates people most often is how they feel about themselves. Not as they kind of say, oh, it's what I look like, but no, it's really how you feel, how comfortable you've come in your own body. And I feel very fortunate that I got there without having to put weight as a function of it. But I digress. Anyway, whenever we went to their meetings and their kickoff, we had to weigh in. We had to get on a scale. Now, this is a luncheon. This is a yay, yay, rah, rah. Here's our new program. And the most ridiculous things I participated, stripping down of your earrings, bringing separate pieces of clothes, because if you were more than, it was, I think, 5 or 6 pounds from your goal weight, doesn't, and there was very little, you had to get a doctor's note to adjust your goal weight. Like my goal weight when I first did it and I was 22 years old was 122. I thought that was cute. I haven't been 122 pounds in a long time. Even in my thinnest days, my body does not maintain that number.
Mm-hmm.
And so I had to get a note from my doctor. But I remember thinking, this is ridiculous. They are weighing all of us. They're teaching in the classes about emotional eating, and you're creating
an emotional issue.
Emotional eating, and the other thing they used to do is, let's say, they used to track numbers, because you do that in businesses. And if your numbers in a class would fall off, sometimes they would switch people around. All of that I didn't have an issue with. But to tell you that you're basically going to be fired or removed from the class, I'd like to take you to lunch. Why? So I could have anxiety over the food? I remember one day I was being removed from it was a group of older women. I had a lot of at work programs. And they were... So it wasn't a good match with because each group can have a personality. There were older women, they met in a church in a very conservative area of, it didn't work. It wasn't a match. I could say what was wrong with them or what was wrong with me, but nothing was wrong with anybody. But anyway, the woman poor woman calls me up and says, we'd like to take you to lunch. And I said, no, I spent a lot of time learning not how to do emotional eating. And so the last thing when you're going to, and I literally said this, fire my ass, do I want to do is sit and pretend like I'm having a good time at lunch. Just tell me on the phone. And she's like, And I was 25 or 26 at that point, and I already was heading down a different spiritual path of, I do believe there's emotional eating. I saw it in myself. And when I became aware of it, I could work with it. I still, to this day, if I'm really upset or been in a fight, the last thing I will do is eat because I don't want it to be associated. It is, and that's not a restriction. It's just, I listen to my body that says, this is not the time. I want you to give me more things to process. We're processing something else.
Yeah, it's interesting you share that, because many years back, I had applied to that company you're speaking of, because I was told the only way you can work for the company is if you were part of their program. So I signed up for the program, and then I applied after keeping my weight at the required weight that they wanted. And every time they would weigh, they would literally tell me, you're eating too many calories for what your weight's supposed to be. And at that point, I said, look, you have me eating way below the calorie requirement that my body needs to maintain the muscle that I have at the calories that I'm consuming right now. And this is even low for what I'm supposed to be doing for the muscles I have. I said, I cannot eat less than what I'm already eating. I said, if this is what I need to do to maintain being in this place to be a presenter or leader here, it's not worth it. Mm-hmm. I said, because theoretically, you want me to starve. I said, and starving is not going to help me maintain what I work very hard to accomplish in the weight room. I said, so I don't really need to be a leader here because it doesn't work for me. You know, and that just goes like leads us right into the overall of everything. Now, you were saying
eat the cake.
Exactly. and yeah, exactly. And Kitty was saying before about, running or whatever it is that one enjoys doing. My philosophy as a trainer, when I work with clients, is obviously I'm an advocate of strength training. But I also encourage the client that, hey, you know what? If you like to run, if you like to do the Zumba, if you like your low impact, if you like your TRX, if you like your HIIT program, whatever it is you like, incorporate it into your regimen. So this way here you have a little bit of everything, as opposed to doing one of something and missing the bigger process of what you're going to get the major results from. And I think that's where the fitness industry anyway is a little confusing, because there's this major focus on, well, to do just one particular thing versus why don't we incorporate a little bit of everything? This way here, you're not just doing too much of one thing and not enough of something else. Like, for example, when we think about stretching, or in the last, I don't know, maybe 10 or 20 years, stretching has become this fad of yoga. If we really think about it, if we go back, like, I don't know, let's see, I'm going to be 53 next month. Let's go back 50 years. I mean, I don't think yoga was the thing 50 years ago. It was stretching. But if you take a look, a lot of the stretching terminology and what they do is very similar to yoga. But many people don't stretch enough. And that too needs to be a part of the equation to a regimen. But we're not here just to talk about that. Kitty and I come together to talk about all sorts of things. And we have a lot of fun stuff to talk about.
Well, and this leads into the Leo moon. The Leo moon. That song, If You Lose Your One and Only. It's a neon moon, but I always sing it, the Leo moon.
Yeah. And what's
So the
so
neon
interesting
moon.
about Kitty and I is that obviously, well, obviously only I know this and Kitty knows this. You guys may not know this, but Kitty does have a Leo moon, and my moon is Aquarius, which is so perfectly aligned with each other because they're opposition signs. So it's so much fun to sit here and have these conversations with Kitty and talk about what we're going to be talking about
Yeah.
besides eating the cake. So let's talk about this juicy Leo moon.
Well, and it is really about eat the cake, because what a Leo is the energy of the sun. The sun rules Leo, and it's fifth house energy, which is fun and creative and childlike innocence and exuberance. And it's everything that isn't restrictive. Everything. It's the embers of the fire that hypnotize us. It's what makes us roar. And when we're looking at this Leo moon, this is very in line with the energies that are coming um, in this next month, because it's really asking us this month is a big month for this pause to totally look at who we want to be. What if you want to call it selfish or self-fulfilling is what it is. And when we
Selfless.
look at who we want to be, we want to fulfill ourselves this month. And of course, a full moon is all about forgiveness. First person we're going to forgive on a Leo moon is ourselves. Um, and and then it's about gratitude for where we've come, what we know about ourselves, and then letting go of those things that are in our way of who we are. The sun in our universe, in our earth, is what we all go around. All the planets go around, and there are no planets assigned to Earth, because Earth is us. Earth
Mhm.
is our totality, physical, mental, spiritual, auric, all of those things.
Mhm.
And so this Leo moon is a spectacular time. We've had this really interesting thing that's been happening. We have 7 full moons that will be at 16 degrees and 5 new moons at 1 degree.
Oh
Now,
wow.
statistically and normally, you have a better chance of hitting the lottery, basically. It's very unusual. And 16 degrees first of all, it's a Taurus degree. So it's all about stabilizing who we are. And of course, I have so much Scorpio that this is the opposite. I love Taurus because it's the thing I look to go, help me, help me. And because I have so much Scorpio, it wants us to stabilize. We have Venus, who's in her sign of exaltation, who is the ruler of that Taurus degree, this 16 degree, that really, really wants us to look at expansion of beauty, expansion of what we value, expansion of abundance, expansion of how we are in relationships. And so it rules this Taurus. So it wants even this Taurus's stability to be at its best, to be at what is the best versions. Because 16 degrees itself is it is kind of all about the Taurus energy. And and then we have at a degree of what's called indifference, we have this square that's happening with Uranus tomorrow too. It's just about 17 degrees. It's also that 16 degrees with our moon. And so, by the way, Uranus, the ruler of Aquarius, where our sun is, it's this square with the sun. There's going to be some real drama you can see in other people, because that's how it's feeling. And it can be disruptive and seem like we've got some petty irritations. But at the same time, it's because those are the things we need to move out of our way. Those are the things the light is shining upon in this full moon to move on beyond, because the space we're being asked to hold is to hold that expansive collective. And as people are waking up, people are just understanding what that is. So probably if you're watching that, you're well on your way of this expansion. So that's why those petty things they're all signals, just like Joanne was talking about with your body, for things that I can, this is a rejuvenate, reset, experience, I can make decisions about. And it isn't about me solving my irritations with somebody else. They're mine. This is Leo, folks. This is about me, myself, and I. The I am in the we are. So it's pretty amazing, actually. I was just going to take a quick look at what else is happening with it tomorrow. So we're able to take that Gemini experience with our moon and activate it.
Yes.
Very cool with that Leo energy. So that's fire and air. So you know what that means. That sparks us into action and being able to communicate the action, not in an oppressive way, but in these are my needs. And then look at who's willing to do it. Interestingly enough, that Venus energy that is tomorrow is not kind of looking at this Leo moon. She's doing her own exalted thing. So they're kind of working in this parallel. They're not visible with each other. And again, we talked about that square already with the Uranus energy that's working with that Aquarian, because when you're at a full moon, the moon and that are right together. And then we're kind of flip-flopping back and forth with that energy with the moon. Okay, what's stepping forward, the vision of what I want to see or who I am? And it's finding the flow as we get ready for that Pisces energy we're going to step into.
Yes.
It's a pretty big energetic day tomorrow.
Yes, and that Pisces energy is also one of my favorites too. Why is it my favorite?
It's your sun.
Yes, it's my sun energy.
It's your sun. Yes. She's got a birthday coming.
Yes, I got a birthday coming up. Actually, what's today? Today's the 4th? Is today the 4th? Yeah, so it's actually 30 days from today. Yes.
Yep.
Imagine that. Yes.
But it's a little less because it's February.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah. Well, yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Because there's only 28 days.
Oh, you got it. Is it the 4th that we have?
What do you have? What do we have going on? I have my calendar here too.
Like my calendar, everybody. I'm so glad I'm showing you my calendar.
You have to have your calendar. Usually I do on the natal chart, but today we're changing things up.
Well, next month's a big month. Joanne and I both take a class together, a course together with an intuitive shaman. And yes, because we all need still guides and inputs and to keep a comprehensive view. And he's been talking about the next couple months for a couple months. And there's some big astrological things that are happening, which is really why we have a Leo moon. Because it really is, and I realize it's always, but this Leo moon is really to shine the light on what it is we need to let go of. We've been doing a lot of work on our personal values and all that. Now, who we are, let's step forward in it, because as we get close to this Pisces new moon, we are wanting this amazing flow, and it's very dreamy and imaginative and coming off this time of vision. But we do have Saturn. We do have Saturn stepping into, when do you go in, Saturn? I'm looking for you. Saturn goes in on the full moon. And the full moon is in Virgo. So Saturn steps into Pisces. And whenever Saturn enters a sign, it stays for a while. And though it will retrograde a little bit back into Aquarius and come back, it stays for quite a while. And it is about boundaries and restrictions. But the way I'm hearing it, it's boundaries and restrictions to make the flow go forward. So if you're holding that space on the boat that's going forward, great. If not, you're going to be trying to maybe
you may fall off that boat.
And remember, the denser expression of Pisces is suffering, is addiction, is all of those things. So those will be things that you're your restrictions. What were you talking about? Eat the damn cake.
Yes. Yes.
Eat. So this is why we're talking about it. Eat it.
Yeah.
Be
And what I love about the fact that I'm born the day that I'm born, out of every day out of the entire year, there's 365 days this year because there's no leap year. There's only one day out of the entire year that actually tells you to do something, and that happens to fall on my birthday, which is March 4th. March 4th.
Yeah.
So it's time we all start to literally March 4th, go forward with the changes that we need to make so we can take advantage of all this energy that we have going on, this amazing Leo moon. What do you need to change? I mean,
and by the way, the moon's in Leo on your birthday.
Oh, look at that. Yes. Mm-hmm. Imagine that. Imagine that. Huh? Yes. Yes. So when we think about the last 3 years, I mean, is this going to be the third? I don't even know if they talk about this as the anniversary. Is this the third year anniversary since the pandemic?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Just to give you a little fun thing, when Saturn marched into Aquarius, where it is now, was March 22nd, a week after, pretty much when everything shut down.
Yes.
That was the Friday, because it was the 13th, so it was the 22nd, yes. And that is when things were really closing down. Remember, they gave us about a week and everything. And of course, Saturn is the planet of restrictions, and it restricted what we thought was the vision of us. And what it forced was a new birth of what the vision of what we could be. So many people began to awaken. So many people said there's got to be more than the I don't want to call it a hamster wheel, but the wheel I've been on, the path I've been on. And we're rather given the opportunity, you could call it forced, that's not, we're restricted into the opportunity to spend time.
Yeah.
And prioritize of what the vision of what they wanted their life to be.
Yes. And here we are 3 years later. And there's still, I mean, which is a great thing. There's so many more people still coming into that whole, who am I? There's so many people that still are asking, like, why did this happen? Why did this happen? And I truly believe, well, to find out why it happened, take some time to sit quietly and reflect on who you were then and who are you becoming now if you allowed yourself to let go of the restrictions of thinking that you're supposed to be who you were then.
Right.
Because
you can only you can answer that question. Why did it happen? Why did it happen for you?
Exactly. Like it's really interesting because, again, back on March 22nd, when we had the shutdown and we were all told we had basically 1 week to shut everything down, I myself had a lot of resistance to that because I chose not to shut down. I had asked my clients, I gave all my clients the opportunity to, if you want to continue being on site, we will. If you want to continue virtually, we will. Some chose to do it a different way altogether. But I had a lot of resistance because in my mind, I was like, well, why is it that the health and fitness industry is not qualifiable as an elective? What do they call it? Was it an elective? Only elective businesses, services? Was that the term they use?
No. No, what was it called? What was the term they used?
I don't know.
Basically, you can't do without them.
Yeah, I forget what it's called, but I thought it was elective, but it's not elective. But it will come back to me. Everything always comes back eventually. But I just thought, like, okay, health and fitness should really fall under that too, because I mean, there's so many people who work out because of their sanity. Could you imagine all these people that couldn't work out? I mean, I think it's the first time ever that when people went to buy exercise equipment online, that they literally had no exercise equipment to sell because it was literally sold out. there were no place you could buy exercise equipment. You know, and there were lots of people. I had people knocking at my door at my brick and mortar asking me, "Do you have weights that you're willing to sell?" And I'm like, "No, I need these guys. They're not going anywhere."
Oh, the irony 3 years later, right?
Yes, as I just said that now, I'm like, well, do you people want to come back and knock at the door, a different door? Because I have a whole
What were
bunch of
they
stuff.
called?
What were they called?
They were called critical workers, but that's what it meant.
Yeah, no, yeah. Elective? They weren't elective workers?
No, not elective. Elective would be choice.
What the hell was the word? Oh my God. I know you and I are sitting here with our brains going. Oh my goodness. But whatever it was, I truly believe that health and fitness should have definitely been under that umbrella to allow people to work out.
Yeah, whatever. What? Yeah, I can't remember
Selective,
what it is.
not selective. I'm sure there's somebody who's going to be watching this later yelling.
Somebody who's watching it. If you are watching it and you can come up with the
what was the damn term? I can't remember. But yes, like I said, I do believe that health and fitness should have definitely been in that category so people could have maintained their sanity. You know, but whatever the case was, you know, which I had a lot of resistance to it. And that's, you know, because I had so much resistance, I decided I was going to continue doing what I was doing. I remember one day my sister called me and said to me, you do know you have to close your place at 8 o'clock. I'm like, I have to close my place at 8 o'clock? Why? She goes, because they're going to have police out and anyone who's in the street at 8 o'clock at night will be fined. I'm like, oh, like what? I'm like, really? You know, but I knew I wasn't going to be out at 8 o'clock anyway, so it didn't matter. But I just, you know, again, a lot of resistance that I had at that time, you know, so. But moving on from it, it gave us all the opportunity to, who at least was aware of the opportunity, to really allow ourselves to quiet down. You know, quiet down and embrace what this world was going to look like in 3 years from now. You know, as we are now, not, you know, then. What it was going to look like, how different things were going to look, and continuing to be different. You know, I believe there's going to be more changes going forward, especially with all that's going to be taking place after, you know, as of March, the 3-year anniversary. What we're going to see, how we're going to see things change.
There many things are really, really going to change, to shift, to I don't think we even have an idea of what it's going to be like.
No. I mean, businesses are going to change. How we do business is going to change. Everything's going to change. You know,
Yeah.
and you know, this is why, again, you know, as Kitty said earlier too, in reference to the event that she and I were on. Well, she's going to be on tomorrow. I was already on. You know, it's about shifting the mindset that we no longer have to continue to believe a certain belief after so many years of it. If it doesn't really resonate with you anymore, this is the opportunity to start shifting that belief system. Start, what I'm hearing right now, which is so weird, start thinking for yourself, is what I just heard. It's time to start thinking for yourself that if what you're used to, the beliefs, philosophies, habits that you're used to, weigh it out and ask, does this really serve me anymore? And if it doesn't, this is a great time with all these amazing changes. Saturn moving into Pisces, this Leo full moon, this is an opportunity to start asking yourself, you know, what can I change? What can I change? And you can change anything. It really is a mindset. It's really, really, really going into that brain, your brain, and saying, you know what? I'm not going to do it this way anymore. I'm going to do it differently. Something that really works for me. and use this amazing energy with this. Now, Kitty, at the end of March, and I know I'm jumping ahead because we still have a whole lot of February left, but March 23rd we have Pluto moving into Aquarius.
Yeah, yes, March at 8:13 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. That's a biggie.
Yes.
It's there till June 11th.
Yes, talk to us about that, because I mean, Pluto
Well,
in
that's
itself.
been, like I said, this whole month is really getting us aligned with who we are, getting our dreams kind of brought forth, getting an idea with it, because as there may be things that start to distract us in the bigger vortex of worry, and that's not where we are. Excuse me. And so, again, it's this us holding this space. So Pluto going into Pluto takes 245 to 248 years to make its cycle. And so the last time Pluto was at in this was the Revolutionary War for the United States. And when it went into Aquarius was right after the Constitution was written. So it is a time for transformation of the vision, transformation of the expansion. So, the States was a big experiment back then. I was literally thinking just last night about Abraham Lincoln's address. 7 years ago, our forefathers brought forth upon this continent a new nation dedicated to, and it was something brand new. It was basically, could the experiment happen? Conceived in liberty and dedicated to the proposition that all men are created equal. Now we are engaged in a great civil war, testing whether this nation or any other nation so conceived and so dedicated can long endure. And so that's during that Pluto expansion. Can this work? Will this work? Will we be holding this for this human new world? So that's one reason why focusing our vision is so important right now. And this is at a really big collective, because there's this big collective awakening. And we're going over for both Saturn, and as it enters into Pisces, we're going over this 29 and 0 degree, and Pluto doing the same thing, which is, they're both called analytic degrees. And the 29th degree is about the completion, the kind of the wisdom of all of the lessons of that energy. So for Saturn, it's the vision. And the 0 degree is a karmic reset. It's the angelic, once galactic, kind of reaching for the it's that energy when you stand at the ocean and you realize it's always going on, just like that galactic energy is always out there, many ancient societies beyond. We're silly if we think we're the only ones here. I mean, that's just kind of silly. Even if you're logical, come on, guys, in the vastness of the space. Yeah.
I'm just going to jump in there a second. The word we were looking for that we couldn't figure out, I looked it up. Essential workers.
Essential. Thank you.
Essential. Yes. I had to go and look it up because it was driving me crazy.
How funny you found it then. Essential. What is essential in our lives? What is essential in this vision? That's kind of the 29th degree. What is essential, and what is this energy about? And then we move to the 0 degree, which is that energetic degree. What is simple? What is reset? What is very pure of that next sign? And of course, we're going into Pisces, which is about that ascended masters, the flow, or we're going into that, for Pluto, we're going into Aquarius. What is the vision? What transformation of the vision are we willing to live with and be with? And Pluto is always about going into the dark to bring the light. So big energies coming in March to shift us. And they're both, especially Pluto, way out there, bringing it more into that collective understanding. So that's the real age of Aquarius, about holding the space you want to see, the joy, the compassion, the connection. One of my words this year is meta. which is unconditional kindness and compassion, holding metta for each other. What is it that we want to? And we know that when we reach that expanded vibration, it travels farther. We may not see it, but it does travel farther. So that's why we're talking about eat the cake.
Yes, eat the damn cake.
Instead of restricting how you're going to get to something, you're expanding how you're going to get there.
Exactly. And I think it's a perfect time to pull some cards. So this way here, A, we can give some insight. B, we can help others to clear energies where they may be resisting what's coming in, especially resisting eating the cake. Yes, it's really interesting because when I was younger, like my inner child literally now like throws confetti as I am now an adult in my almost mid-50s, where now I eat the cake. Because when I was younger, even for my own birthday, because I was so conscious about my weight, I would not eat the cake. I mean, not even on my own birthday. I got to a point where, I just chose not to eat sweets. I was counting calories, blah, 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 blah. Now I just eat the cake and I enjoy, and I can feel my inner child saying, yeah, she finally rebelled and got it together. Got it together. That's what it is. It's not about rebelling. It's about just saying, you know what? I think the better sense would be I got smarter. I got to understand that what it is that I do for my body needs nourishment. And if I'm feeling a need to want to have, whether it's cake or my favorite sometimes are chips, like blue chips. I love onion rings. Oh my God, do I love onion rings? And I can eat a whole plate of them, by the way. Yes, I can.
You can eat one of those big old stacks that comes out with the knives in the middle?
Onion rings are my thing. I love onion rings. And when I go to the diner and I order, usually, let's say, the burger, no bun, with the mozzarella on it, and I get a side order of onion rings. If they put my onion rings on the same plate, it means that they did not give me enough onion rings, because there's no way you can fit that on the same plate. A side order of onion ring. And I eat every last one. My husband will sit there and watch me eat them. I'll offer him one. I'm like, would you like one? That's all you can have is one. And I do every last one. And yes, I do.
I love the card that came out.
Ooh, that's pretty.
And it's the echo. Listen for the repeated messages. And listen for the repeated messages you're giving yourself. Eat the cake.
Yes, yes. I love this one that follows. Queen and King, the sacral energy, and that too, that partnership that you do have with your feminine and masculine energy. As I said this, I think the other day, as I was on the virtual event, when we are looking to have the sweets or the salt, because it could be either or, we don't all crave sweets. Some of us crave salt, or desire salt or desire sweets. It's allowing us to step into our inner child. And it gives us that ability to receive and also to take. So why not step into it? And the sacral energy is really working on allowing you to be in that space of letting go of judgment, letting go of the guilt that, oh my God, specifically women. I don't think too many men have this issue, but the women that walk around with the guilt of like, oh my God, like if they're going to go to a party, they'll literally starve all day so they can indulge at that party. And the reality of it all is, you know what? You're better off eating throughout the day. It will actually do your body better than if you starved all day and then indulged that night. So let go of the guilt, the shame, the judgment towards yourself, because you have a partnership with yourself. And again, as we already know, it's really about shifting the belief, shifting the old mindset, the old philosophies of what we've been programmed to believe. We need to have a new belief system. So I love that card.
I do too. And the next one that came with it was Goes right with what you're talking about. Your choice.
Yes, yes. I love that.
It says, welcome the choice in every morning, in every moment, the choice of how you're looking at it. What is the echo? Repeat to the and the two, that balance, that sacral chakra that wants you to go beyond survival, wants you to, one of the words that somebody was using the other day was vitality.
Yes.
Choose the things that bring you the vitality.
Yeah. And the two, again, because we didn't mention it before, the two.
That's February.
February, yes. Yes. And we've already discovered that February is all about self-love, not just for Valentine's Day, but loving on yourself. As my show, what was it? My radio show, the first Wednesday of the month, which was just last week, it was like falling in love with yourself at first sight. Just as you would anybody else. Every time you see yourself, fall again in love with yourself.
This is a year of clarity. And one of the things is that the first 3 weeks of February is this wonderful conjunction with Venus and Neptune, the expansion of what you value and the value of spirit. Very love, very dreamy, very following your dream, your heart, your desires. And then Venus moves into Aries, and then she's in a lovely conjunction with our expansion energy, Jupiter. So what are you willing to do? I sent you that poem, and I love the line where it says, build a blanket big enough to hold both your dreams and your actions. That's what February is about, your dreams and your actions.
Yes. And I think Kitty said this word earlier, and it's so interesting on the card, forgiveness. Forgiveness. Because that's what this is all about. You're allowed to forgive yourself. Forgive yourself for whatever it is you need to forgive yourself for. And when you do, that shifts you in this much higher vibration, which is the crown chakra. That 9 energy is allowing you to really let go and transform, but also allowing yourself to travel. And when I use the word travel in your dream state of what your visions are and what you see, how you see yourself in months to come, how you see yourself evolving as we do move through February and through this magnificent energy that's coming in March and April and May and et cetera, et cetera. So forgiveness. The person you need to forgive is yourself. Once you forgive yourself.
And remember, forgiveness is just not letting something have power over you.
Exactly. It's interesting. I was listening to someone the other day. I forget who it was. I think it was on a TikTok video. And I wasn't quite in agreement with what she was actually saying in regards to we can forgive, but we shouldn't forget. And I don't necessarily agree with that, because I truly believe, in my belief anyway, is that yes, forgive, but also forget. Because in my opinion, there's no reason to hold on to whatever it is. I mean, from what she was saying about not forgetting it is so this way here you could set boundaries. I believe that in the process of forgiving, you work on setting better boundaries with that person. You don't have to hold on to the energy of whatever that situation was. So forgive, and definitely use that Saturn energy to set boundaries so you can have a better relationship with whomever it is you're going to have a relationship with, especially with yourself. We'll do one more card each.
Well, mine went right with what you were saying, crown chakra. Receive inspiration. That was the one that had come out. So when you said crown chakra, you'll see me go, of course.
Of course.
And look, it's a full moon.
Of course. Oh, this one's interesting. Sure, we're all going to love this one. Financial abundance.
Oh, that, by the way, that Jupiter energy, thank you, with the Venus energy is financial abundance.
Yes. And I'm glad this card showed up, and I'm glad Kitty just said that, because again, when we speak about the resistance, whether it's related to your weight or you're relating to whatever else you're resisting, when you are resisting, when you're in that mindset of saying, I can't do this or I can't have that, you are blocking financial abundance. So that's more than enough reasons to get to that space of saying, you know what, I can let go of my resistance so I can bring in financial abundance. That 1-7 is that 8 energy associated with our Scorpio energy, which is the transformations that every one of us can experience. Our chakra is the third eye, which is about the visionary, which is what February's energy is all about. Aquarius energy is all about the visionary. Allow yourself to visualize what your life can be when you let go of the resistance to everything, because resistance isn't just limited to one area. It's not just about, well, I'm going to resist it here, but everything else is going to flow. It doesn't work that way. You resist here, you resist everywhere. Love that card.
Yes.
Love it.
Very,
Love it.
very good.
Love
And
it.
of course, that's an 8. So
Yes. So any final words for everyone who's watching, Kitty?
we're at 555. 5555. There is a lot of energy. How you choose to look at it, resist it, whatever you choose to do is what you will magnify. And that doesn't mean things won't bubble up that you are not comfortable to feel. But if you could just feel them without assigning them either a woe is me or I'm being gypped or anger, then they can be forgiven and released and have no power. The body needs to feel them, but if we can not give them a pattern and just let them move through, we have a better, we're able to hold the space we want to see and magnify then those things that you wish to create.
Yes. And I have to share this last card only because when I put the deck down, I put the deck facing up. And it's just so appropriate for our Leo full moon because it's about freedom, that 5 energy. That Leo 5 energy, which
There it
again,
is.
yeah, freedom. But also reminding yourself that as we experience this full moon that we will have in this Leo of change and drama, ground your energy because yes, it could be overwhelming if we let it. If we focus on what's making us overwhelmed and anxious and not working right now, that's what's going to continue to happen. But if you focus on what's working for you and what you're willing to change, that's what's going to happen. So I love that. Kitty, as usual, it's always so much fun coming together, and we will always come back and Kitty and I will play some more. I'm sure we have lots of energy coming in as we move through February and
especially into September. Look at that.
Look at that. Right through the entire year already. Wow.
into March as
Yes.
March 4th.
Yes. We'll have to do this on my birthday. That Saturday night. I'm assuming that, I'm not celebrating my birthday on my actual birthday. Could that possibly happen?
I love that though, that your birthday is an action, March 4th.
Yes, exactly. I remember when I first, I don't know if it was that I realized it or that someone mentioned it. I'm like, oh wow, that is the coolest thing. I said, I was born on an action day. But again, being just how I was born in general, there was just so much action in that friggin' day. So everyone, Kitty, let them know how they can reach you if they want to.
intuitionofthesoul11@gmail.com, or you can Kitty Buttigieg Foss on Messenger, and we can put that in the notes. But just if you reach out at intuitionofthesoul11@gmail.com, happy to send you any links, or you can find us on Facebook. There is both a public and a private. If you go to the public, it takes you to the private. It's free and it's fun. So come join us.
Exactly. And my email strolling on the bottom for anyone who's looking to reach me. And I'm on Facebook as well. I have a private, I have a paid group as well. So whatever it is you're looking for, just send an email. All that being said, happy full moon. Enjoy.
Happy full moon in Leo.
Yes.
It's all about you.
Yes. As we are in this opposition energy, her and I, but we're good.
Yeah.
We are good.